Alright there, you doom scrolling again on YouTube and social media looking for help with your dog that's gone off the rails? Take a look at some of our films, especially this one coming next. But if you're in the UK, maybe you should get in touch, then we can give you a hand. It never come out properly. I salvaged something from it, but it wasn't great. Look, actually film this, Tom, and then we'll... Your one is softening up. It's not as soft as my one yet, this lead. Right, so it's round there. We've clipped it into the collar as well. Now we drop that piece back. We pick it up round here. And because you've got that carabiner on there, it will feed up the other side of that. And it makes that harness. I'll just spin her around. So it makes this harness. And we can hold it short. Now normally I'm not a fan of holding a lead short, but for some dogs if you're doing it slightly differently, it will work. Now if we pull this, you're still watching. So we like using the same lead for everything. So you probably haven't seen this before. Everybody else is trying to flog you different equipment. So keep looking. The thinner strap lead that we're using, it's very versatile, especially if we put the carabiner on the end of it. Again, if you got in touch and come and work with us, we'd be able to give you a hand. Off the kind of harness way. So that was that way. Every opportunity we have, we take putting a little pull on there because we're wanting the dog to learn to respond to those. So it actually becomes part of the communication process. If you've got a dog on a lead, you want the dog to learn to respond to the lead, not to feel it go tight and then that's the signal to just put us back into it, which is kind of where a lot of people can end up if you're not careful. Again, you're probably going to need to work with us or maybe another trainer, it doesn't matter, that's going to help you understand this. Those like little tugs and pulls on a lead and sometimes outright pulling, that's going to happen anyway, regardless of your mindset, positive, balanced or whatever, training wise. You might as well own those little tweaks and those little insignificant pulls and actually make them part of your communication process, so the lead actually begins to assist your communication with the dog. Again, you need to be working with either ourselves or better trainers that can help you understand this. Now the other way is where we make it momentarily just a little bit of a head collar. So we do a twist, which obviously we pop over the dog's muzzle, the same as you do with any head collar. Now then, this is a controversial piece of equipment. Head collars. I believe they're just as controversial as people that use pinch collars, prong collars. The dogs go into learned helplessness with head collars in the same way as they will do with a pinch or a prong collar. It just doesn't look as bad. But you put one on a dog for the first time, they absolutely bloody hate them. Anyway, back to the film. It works better with my one a little bit because it's softened up a little bit. But they hate it. I think we talked about that last week. Yeah. Now what you'll find when you're walking a dog to heel that isn't compliant and is challenging, wanting to challenge you, you will use different types of equipment and they will work for a period of time and then the dog kind of puzzles them out, gets used to them, and then they no longer work quite so well. So using this concept, we can flip between that. Using the same lead in a variety of different ways eliminates the need for all these additional pieces of equipment, and ultimately the dog learns that the lead itself is worth responding and listening to, because you're assimilating it into the communication process. It begins to mean things to the dog. So like the little bits of information you give the dog with the lead actually assist the process, and it shifts you into a position where you actually able to tell the dog to do certain things. Because if you ask certain types of dog, would you like to, they're going to think, well, no, not really at the moment, thanks for asking. I'm going to go and do this instead. The harness way, so she's not able to get used to any one particular way we're using it, but it's still all associating with this lead. Sit. Then we can sort of just have it where it's, although it's attached to her collar just for safety, because this isn't a proper slip lead, so it doesn't have a stopper. So we've got it attached to the collar as well. But it can, if she moves forward, it can tighten up in the same kind of way that a slip collar does. So she's getting used to 3 different ways of using this. And then if you practice, sit, so stop, sit, I'm using the lead. We know she'll sit, I can sit up. If you sit, I might give you a pat, stroke, or you're going to throw the toy, you're going to get something eventually. Okay, I'll sit because I might get something. When I do that, I'm telling her to sit. So the emphasis has changed. When you're doing all the other ways, it's kind of like asking, do you mind sitting? Because if you do, I'm going to give you this. And the dog thinks, yeah, all right then. And for some dogs, what you actually need to be able to do is to tell them, sit. And why am I sitting? You're sitting because I told you bloody go. And do you get it? For some dogs, if you don't have that ability, you'll experience what you were experiencing a moment ago, where they will just take liberties. So if they're going to take liberties on the end of a lead, can you expect any different once you take the lead off? No, in fact, you're going to be lucky if you get the same as you got on the lead, because now you've got nothing, and now they're going to take even more liberties. So, and ultimately with this, if I pull that through there like that now, I'm now just walking on a flat collar with the lead. So training in this kind of way, you not only increase the compliance in the dog actually becomes much quieter in its behaviour, which you can then nurture. And for some people with pet dogs, that kind of is the holy grail, which makes you kind of begs the question really, why are so many training models set up around having a highly motivated dog that doesn't know how to settle, that's always anticipating reward? That's why you need to seek out the kind of trainer that is going to help you achieve the dog that you want. So if you go to a trainer that produces military grade canines and you wanted a dog that you could just pop down the pub with after you've been for a stroll around the park, they're probably not going to be able to help you. That doesn't make them a bad trainer, it's just not the right trainer for you. I'll still use it. I'm going to sit there, pull that through as a stop, sit. I'm telling it, sit. And then doing it that way, you will typically produce a quieter sit than you will if there's a promise of a reward for a certain type of dog, and she would be one of those, that work inside in her brain. She wouldn't be as quiet. She might still be sitting, but she'd kind of be pumped because she's anticipating the reward. So if I produce a quieter sit, we then try and reward the dog quietly. So it becomes much more about just real quiet touch. We've produced a quiet dog, and then if we reward and nurture the dog in the right way, we actually draw even more quietness out of the dog. And the down last week, I probably showed you using food and different things, but this is a perfect chance here. If you get a dog that stops and ends up adopting a soft sit, so she's very loungy and relaxed there, if I, as I'm stroking, drop my hand down onto her chest here, almost where her shoulder is, and I can just go down, down. And again, that is a different down to if you're sort of saying, if you go down like for 10 seconds, I'm going to throw the ball for you. Dogs like that, they won't typically lay down and relax. And part of the trick with a pet dog is to try and really nurture and create a much quieter behaviour pattern in the dogs. And if she's nice and quiet there, sometimes I say, no. Sometimes I say that if you don't need to reward, just don't bother, because sometimes any kind of reward is like pointless. But if it's helpful, a little bit of nurturing, quiet praise like that is good. But the only thing you would say to the dog is down. You wouldn't start doing, oh, good girl, because good girl means, we're done, are we? Sit. Sit. So I'll slip that off. Yes.